evening, and welcome to Late Night with Group C. First, we have here Mr. Gross.
All right. My issue was brought up by Miss Etta in one of her blog posts. And in one of the recent readings, they said, Descartes said that he believed in something called radical doubt, which is when he doubts everything and anything. And he also said in one of his parts that God was the most perfect that anything could get. So my question was, if he doubts everything, why doesn't he doubt the existence of God?
I agree with that. I think that he should be doubting God as well. I don't think it's right for him just to say that he's doubting everything. Also, like other people and anything he's learned from his past, and not doubt God himself.
Yeah, I agree with that. I believe that he had to find out about God from someone else. And the whole point of him doubting everything is because he didn't learn it himself. And he wanted to figure out everything for himself. So if he learned about God through someone else, why should he believe what other people are telling him?
He even says that you can't listen to things that other people told you, like you have to start completely fresh. But then he seems to just take on it as a given.
Yeah, those are all very interesting points. I'm just going to bring up another side to it. Like, maybe do you think it's weird that he does believe in God and how perfect of a human being he is? And maybe, wouldn't that be kind of an influence to try to get him to actually believe in, other people and other things rather than doubt God himself? Like, maybe can he use God as, something to believe in people and their ideas?
But I think he says that, that's the whole point where you're not supposed to do that. You're saying, he's supposed to completely start afresh, and he clearly doesn't do that when it comes to religion. He kind of just takes things.
Somewhere in the reading, though, he said something about when it comes to religion, you need some sort of supernatural being or something to guide you. So I feel that he definitely believes that God is there, God is powerful, God exists. He is what the church and what the society says God is. So he believes that God is there, God is powerful. But I agree with you guys that it goes against everything that he says, how you should doubt everything and start fresh and think about it and yeah.
He begins to talk about God when he talks about how he tries to find the most simple things in the world. It's like nature, the sun, the earth, all those things. Those were created by God. But how can you say those are created by God if you haven't figured it out yourself?
What if he did figure it out himself? I mean, he brings it up that we need to doubt everything, but maybe he did doubt God in the beginning, and then he just figured it out for himself. And that's actually what he actually believes, and he has some amount of evidence to back that up, but he just didn't share in the book.
The thing he does share in the book is I think therefore I am kind of statement, and he says, since he thinks that proves that he is in existence, that he's thinking, he said that he's not perfect, and he knows this, and he sees all the things that he doesn't know or he's not capable of, and so he thinks therefore that something that created him would have to be greater or perfect.
Yeah,
So
I think going off that, I think he says, I think therefore I am, and in saying that, he believes, by him thinking, there's something that has to be thinking that, so he exists, but he also thinks that there has to be something that created him so he could think about things.
Right.
So he believes in the existence of God, I guess.
Right, but if he's saying that it's the most simple things like nature and the earth, but if there's doubt about any of those things, he shouldn't believe it. And there's doubt about how the earth was formed, and might not just be from God, it could be from the Big Bang, or if there's doubt in that, and there's any sense of doubt in anything, they shouldn't believe it. So if there's God and doubt, then both God and doubt are out of the picture. Do you think this means that his whole method doesn't work because he clearly can't remove everything? Yeah. He can't start.
But at the same time, maybe him doubting everything led him to believe and prove that God exists. Because, let's say if he doubted the existence of, or how human beings came about, and we can have animals, snow, rain, how everything functions, and he doubted all of that, and he traced it back to the only logical explanation being God exists and God created all this. So maybe he used that to prove that
unfortunately, that's the amount of time we have for that question, that topic. Yes, it is. But next we have Mr. Bajwani.
Something that stood out to me in the blogs was a post by Mr. Salzano about Descartes and the four maxims that he came up with to achieve happiness. And Mr. Salzano brought up a good point about how nowhere in the four maxims was money mentioned. So, do you guys think it's possible to achieve happiness without money, or is money vital to achieving happiness?
That's a really good question. I don't think you need money to achieve happiness because I know there are some people that struggle financially, but are happy people. But I do think that in order not to be put in a stressful situation, I think money is kind of vital a little bit.
The way I see it is, you don't need money for happiness, like the old saying, money doesn't buy happiness, but you need money to survive.
Or maybe you don't need money, but makes it a whole lot
Money can be
easier.
a foundation for your happiness. You don't. Once you have a specific amount, you don't need to be greedy and want more. It's just something to get you, maybe a house to be happy or
Or maybe that, if you have enough money to be comfortable, you're gonna remove all the stress in your life, so you won't have as many causes to be unhappy. But there could also be the other situation where you keep wanting more and you're greedy, and that can make you unhappy.
Yeah.
I agree with that too, but I think that it's within the maxims, those four maxims, and since the money isn't involved there, it was a totally different time.
Mhm.
So since it was a different time, maybe money wasn't as necessary. It was necessary, but not the amount of money that you need today.
Right.
So nowadays, I think that money is a lot more necessary than it was then, because you can't survive. You'll get sick. That's why people die young. It's a lot more important than it was then.
Yeah, actually, I agree 100% with that. I mean, you think that back then, they had natural remedies that make you feel better, and I don't know, you could build your own house off of natural resources. But nowadays, I think it's very vital. You need to have money in order to survive in
I still think it depends on the person. Not everybody needs money to be happy. In Wolf of Wall Street, that guy wanted money to be happy because he was very greedy. I mean, that's what made him happy.
But was he actually happy?
Hmm?
What do you think
I
he was
mean,
happy?
he was happy at the time.
but yes.
He was happy at the time, and then his greed led to that. But I mean, that doesn't. It's not irrelevant.
But yeah, maybe it is relevant because maybe it can make you temporarily happy, but it won't give you lasting happiness. Maybe that's why it's not included. I feel like he just had too much money. If he didn't have that much money, he probably would have been happier, and he would
It
have
wasn't really
stayed
the money,
happier.
it was the greed.
It kind of brings you back to the point, and I think Socrates you need a balance. Too much or too little sometimes is never good.
But at the same time, though, in that movie, money did not make him happy. It was cocaine. He just needed
But how did he get the cocaine? Cocaine is very
So maybe
expensive drug.
it's a means. Maybe it's a means to the things that make you happy. So maybe it's not the actual money, but
Like, the money
It was
itself
just
doesn't
the
make
power. It was
yeah,
the power
it
of
could be
the-
better.
Good. Very good. Okay, so I guess that brings me to my topic, and that is Mr. Ramos's post about the old city and the new city, where Descartes describes the old city as buildings are deteriorating, the streets are windy. The old city is just altogether undesirable, whereas the new city is more modern. All the buildings look the same, and they're served for one purpose. For example, the factory. If you have a city built around a factory, all those, companies or businesses around it, they're going to be working towards that factory. So Ms. Pickerel brings up a very good question, and she asks whether or not we think it is necessary to knock down the whole city and build from scratch, or build just on top and just advance and make it newer. What do you guys think?
In the actual reading, he actually used that example because he said that a lot of people would build around the city. And that's what the old city is. It's it was originally one thing, and then new people built onto it. And then he said that the new city is all designed by one person. one, it's like uniform, it's all like together and makes sense. And I think, but he also put it really interesting. He says that in the old city, individual things were better, and in the new city, like it made more sense, but maybe they weren't. The individual things aren't as good. And it's really strange to me that that necessarily means that the whole new city is better than the old one. Because to me, I would say that that doesn't just because it works better as a whole. Like there could be things in the old city that that made it great the way it was. Right. I think we have a lot of old cities that we use now, and they are serving their purpose. Like most cities these days aren't just built from like the ground up. They're built from different buildings, and some buildings are completely torn down and built up into new like condominiums and different neighborhoods, all uniform in the same way. But there are so many old cities that are just transformed into something different, just building by building, and those are working and they are functioning well. So I think that could work too.
I'm from like one of these new cities where they pretty much built everything from scratch, and it was one guy's plan. It was Edward Norton's grandpa's plan, and he just I mean everything flows. It's like everything it worked like everything you need is in close range, and it's a nice place to live. So
But would that be the new city?
that's a new city.
I think the whole point of the new city is that everything serves for one purpose. Like in the factory example, the whole city is built for just to benefit the factory and make it as productive as possible. Whereas the old city, it had a little bit of everything. Like it didn't serve one purpose; it served every purpose that you could think of. And that was like he started off with one idea, but then they would think, oh, I need this, and they would build it accordingly. So you started off with the new city, which served one purpose, but as different needs arise, then you would build new buildings to fit that need.
Yeah, but it's not like they're just it all goes with the plan, with the new city plan.
Well, do you guys agree that this is like a metaphor for like humans? Like the city is a metaphor for rebuilding yourself. Like I think that's what he was talking about when he was using the city. I think he means like you need to restart yourself and start afresh. So you're all working towards one good. But it's like I didn't really quite agree with that because I thought that if you were using this metaphor, it would be actually better to have the other things that like mold you. Like that we're at school, we have to take like our core classes, for example. Like these are so big, other things can mold us, and we're not just doing one thing. Because as humans, we're supposed to be doing. We're not supposed to just be like this person does this person does this, this person does. We're all supposed to like work together and be a uniform society, but like everybody works together. They don't just each do their one thing.
So that's a very good point. So next we have Miss Boyle.
Okay. My post was about I used Miss Mallory's post on also the new city and the old city, but I'm going at it from a different angle. It's more about the foundations of the city and why those are important too. In Miss Mallory's post, she questions the idea of having just one architect or having more than one architect, and which makes it a better foundation. So I think it's better to have one mind creating a city, which is related more to the new city than the old, which is also a controversy. But I think that having one mind creating an entire city, it's going to be more functional. You're going to have one person designing everything, and that's going to make sense to that city. If there's a bunch of different architects creating different things, like Descartes describes it, in the old city, it's going to crumble, and you can't just build walls on top of walls on top of walls and expect it to stand nice. It's not going to. You have to have one person that creates a solid plan, and everything like lives together in like peace, kind of. So say that one city is made completely out of like stainless steel and aluminum and like metal and shiny and glass, like buildings made out of that, and then you have a brick building and like a brick town next to it. It just doesn't go well together. You have one or the other, and I think that's important to have a functioning city.
But at the same time, you lack diversity. And if you were a member of the city that was built by one person, let's say that person's favorite color was green, and they said paint everything green, and if you didn't like it, you were stuck with it. There was nothing you could do. I mean, that's a stupid example, but
No, it makes sense.
the
But
point I was trying to get at was if that person and you had the same likes and dislikes, then it works out for you. But if you and the architect did not have the same taste, then you're basically screwed.
This is not it's a metaphor for one
Yeah.
person.
I think it's hard to relate it to people only because how often are you able to like isolate somebody like Descartes did and like put themselves alone in a dark room so so that he can build himself up from scratch. But like to do that with an entire body of people, I think it's unrealistic. And like, with a house, I think you should with a house like start from new. But like I don't think you can like. Put the
I
two
think the
together.
whole point of the metaphor is to relate it back to ourselves. And in the old city, you had like each building was representing a new idea, and like that's the way we are living right now. Like we go through school. We've been through what 13, 14 years of school, and we just keep on building off the new ideas that are brought to us every day by each of our teachers, and the success of people before them. But if you start from scratch and you just do it all yourself, then it's really just focused on one thing. Like you can only bring your own ideas, and you can't use other people's experiences of what worked and what didn't work.
Yeah, I think it's hard, even in like a simple way. I think like the metaphor can even work for like finding things out on your own. Not necessarily as big as Descartes wants it to be, but just like the simple things in life, like deciding who you are and deciding what you like and what you dislike, and not going along with other people. It can be simpler than how Descartes makes it so big and like rethinking everything in his life. I think it can be little and just have to do with like your personal feelings or your life goals and decide those kind of things, and that can be like the new city.
I agree because I think if you take it to the level that he does, it's really not going to work because everything that we know, everything, like even if you look at animals, they're still taught things by their, like what they've known, like from their, I don't know, adult parents or whatever. So we would never be able to come to any conclusions that we know today. Nobody would if they weren't taught that kind of way.
I wish we could continue talking about this, but we have to move on to Miss Drenan's exciting topic.
All right. Well, I used the reading on Rutherford's atomic experiment, the gold experiment, and Miss Marty's wrote a post about it, and her point was kind of like, what matters is it matter that we study things so small, or should we be doing the big? And like, what came to this conclusion? Like, was it through philosophy that we learned this? And she says it was through philosophy that we came to understand or learn things in general, and not. But I think that's kind of interesting because do you think that we learned, we came to these small ideas through philosophy, or do you think it was through science? Or do you think it was through both of them combined?
I think it's more towards science, just because both science and philosophy are always changing. We know that, but science has the experiment aspect of things, which is what the gold foil experiment was. And through philosophy, they thought about it. And all they could really do is think through philosophy to do that, and what they thought was wrong. So I think that through science, they figured out a whole nother way of thinking, which was what they learned from the gold.
Yeah, I agree because I think that like the idea came through philosophy, but you could never get to the small particulars without science.
Right.
Anything else?
Okay, well that leads us to our last topic, Mr. Burmester.
I did a post by Ms. Drennan where she talks about the difference between the two tables and the world of shadows that is the physical science. Should we should we not look into should we just see a table as a table, or should we see it as like the molecular thing that it actually is, or should we just ignore that and focus on, I guess, just our lives,
For me, ever since we had this discussion from the first few days of class, I've been seeing things. I've been trying to see things as they actually are, like the atomic structure of them. Obviously, I can't do it, but like in my mind, I'm trying to figure out what is actually there and how it actually appears to me. But I feel like in our everyday lives, it's just too complicated. You can't look at everything as a bundle of atoms. Like you need to recognize that the table is actually a table. It serves a function, no matter how that it actually does that. We just need to, in order to progress, we need to just accept that it's sturdy and solid in order to do anything.
But do you think that like looking into things and knowing what things are made up of, do you think that makes life more complicated, or do you think that makes us like able to like understand more? And you think like that because I think like though we obviously don't go through life and being like, oh look, there's a table, let's think about the items that make that up. We still like the fact that we know that like helps us do so much more.
I agree with you. I think especially as like humans, it's better to know more about yourself and like what you're made up of, just so that you can like maybe just keep yourself healthy or like not hurt yourself and things like that. I mean, for me, it's easier to compare that to humans rather than like an object like a table.
At the end of the day, it's about practicality, and in our day and age, we're fortunate to have people who are experts in literally every field. So if you needed a table, you would go to the furniture shop or a carpenter, and they would make a table, and you would trust that that person knows what they're doing.
We're not supposed to trust other people.
Yeah, but no, because it's like somebody else
Touche.
already went through the trouble to like come to understand this, and through their understanding, we are blessed by knowing like all those stuff.
Yeah.
I think there's no way to avoid like halting like intelligence. Like there's no way that you're ever gonna tell someone like we're just gonna accept this as a piece of plastic and not look into what else it is. Like there's no way that you're ever just gonna say that to everyone, the whole world, and no one is gonna try to just prove you wrong and decide something else.
I feel like we as humans just don't accept that. Like even as like little kids, just like why you keep asking questions like why and why. It's just you're never really satisfied. I feel like.
I mean, looking at something as like a bunch of atoms or trying to figure out what everything is made of does have its benefits, like for medicine. If you don't know what is wrong with something, you can't treat it. So you need to like look and figure out what the real problem is before you can make the medicine to treat it. So I mean, in everyday life, I don't think it's very practical. I think sometimes you just need to accept things as they are, and you really can't think about it. But I mean, like you said, there are experts in every field who it's their job to figure out everything that there is to know about a cell or even just a table. So, but I don't think everybody needs to concern themselves with it, but I mean, there are people who it's their life dedicated to that one thing, and I think that's good to have.
We subconsciously trust, well, subconsciously or not, we end up trusting people to do that for us. I mean, to examine the matter and to make sure that it's safe for us, it's good for us. I mean, every time we go to the hospital, we're injured, we put our life in the doctor's hands, knowing that, this guy might have to cut me open, this guy might have to do whatever to me, but he knows what he's doing, and I should not question him because he spent his whole life perfecting that skill, and I do not know anything about what he's about to do. So
Well, I think that's what like Descartes asking, like should you know? Like so that it's like if you were able to, like you should know enough where you could be able to like perform the surgery upon
I
yourself.
also think
That's
I think that also like that's what makes his method so unrealistic is that we can't ever go through everything. If we went through every single thing trying to figure it out for ourselves, we wouldn't get anywhere. We would never be able to do anything.
Yeah.
So I think the point is that you have to kind of like it's good to know things and it's good to understand as much as you can, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have to accept some things and just move on.
Maybe in moderation. Everything in moderation again.
I
goes
think
back to that.
the theory in itself is good, but like in the real world, there just isn't enough time.
Yeah.
There isn't enough
Yeah.
time for you to learn everything there is to know about everything.
Because you would literally have to isolate yourself.
Yeah.
And like
It would take your life.
It would-
We,
right.
we,
He
we only
spent his
live
whole life
for
doing that and then only come up with this book. Now we can't trust it.
exactly.
I mean, it would be physically impossible. Like, look at our daily life. Like, we wake up in the morning, the first thing we do is eat. We trust that somebody made the food for us and it was safe. If we were going to doubt that, you can go to culinary school, spend a whole lot of time, and then after you eat, everybody showers in the morning. You trust that you turn on the faucet, water's going to come
Gotta
out.
go make the shower.
So what, you're going to go now be a plumber, and then after that you're going to go to class. If you're not supposed to trust your professor,
trust the professor.
it's just physically impossible.
Yeah.
The three simple things, eating, showering, and going to class, that already just took up your
It's
entire
like,
life.
is a lifetime of work that you don't have time for.
It's kind of impossible to be self-sustaining. Like you have to rely on others.
Yeah.
But he's not saying that he's like just completely ignoring everybody and doing. He's listening to what they say and then seeing if he believes that as well. So I don't think he's just like shutting himself in.
But he does say that we have to start over like the idea of the cities. Like he says you really have to take everything out and start from scratch.
He takes another idea
think he's like taking everything he's ever known and just saying, oh, no, it's all wrong. I gotta figure it out for myself. I think he's taking everything that he's learned and asking, well, I think he's just trying to figure it out for himself.
So like,
He's asking himself, are they right? And how can I prove that they are right?
do you think that's what he does with like God and stuff? Is that why he holds to that? Because he thinks it's backed up, or do you think?
Well, I mean, he just came up with his own logic, proving that God is real. I mean, that's what he believes. So, there's really nothing.
Well, this was a very huge conversation. Thanks for tuning in with us. See you later. We didn't do that yet now. We can edit this.
This is so good.